So we have a plan now for the cheap BMW F31 318D that had a blown engine. Yes, had a blown engine. That is because we now have a freshly rebuilt engine supplied by BMW Pro, but more on them later in the video. This thing looks virtually brand new now. It really is a thing of beauty. So this is a completely refurbished engine. It has all new bearings, all new piston rings, all new gaskets, seals, the whole works. Importantly, brand new timing chain kit as well. And all that means the hard work is done for us. Of course, we just need to bolt on all of the ancillaries, mounts, exhaust manifold, intake manifold, turbo, etc. And then this engine is ready to go back in the hole. And if you're wondering why it's taken so long to get to this stage, well, now you'll probably see. I've been busy doing a bit of cleaning and a couple other jobs as well. So yeah, engine bay is now clean, ready to receive the fresh engine along with the gearbox as well. As you can see, I've actually removed the entire radiator pack. Now, why is that? Well, I decided it was a good idea to replace the AC condenser because, as you can see, it's definitely seen better days. Funnily enough, this was actually still holding gas, although, you know, the fins, like the cooling fins, they are all, you know, basically missing in the top part of this or bottom part of the condenser, should I say. It was actually still holding gas, but of course this isn't going to be as cool as it would be if all these fins were in place, and I thought, as they're all basically falling out, I may as well just replace it. No better opportunity than when the engine is out. So here we have a brand new AC condenser along with the dryer, of course. This is a genuine Marlow one as well. And at the same time, I thought I would remove the intercooler, the coolant radiator, the fan, the two intercooler hoses, and I gave the intercooler and the hoses and everything a good clean out. They did have some oil in there, and yeah, I just thought I may as well clean it out while we have the opportunity. Of course, various trim panels as well. This is all pretty much ready to go back into the car, but I may as well do that after we have installed the engine. We now have a bit more access, so yeah, it makes sense to get the engine back in first. But before I do that, I am going to fully build up the engine. You know, it's a lot easier to add bits to the engine while it is out the car. I'm going to fully build it back up, all the ancillaries and all the rest of it, and the wiring loom, and then once it's fully ready to go, we'll then drop it into position. Now we're actually going to town with this engine and, well, with the car in general. That is because a family member's actually going to be having this car, and it makes sense for them to have it in tip-top condition. So we have pretty much all new parts to go on. So new clutch and flywheel kit here, of course, genuine LUK. The one that came off it wasn't terrible. I mean, there was still plenty of life left in the clutch, but you know, just install one and you know, they're never ever going to have to replace it again, because well, you'll probably get 150,000 miles out of it, at which point this car will be on 300,000 miles, and that'll be in, I don't know, 20 years time or so. They're probably not going to have the car that long. What else do we have? Of course, all new seals. I believe that's the intake manifold gasket, oil cooler gaskets. Yeah, loads of bits here. New clutch bolts, new pin for the clutch fork, new clip. This is the new crankcase breather hose. I believe this is a new oil pressure switch. Again, new seals. This is for the oil level sensor. New O-ring for this is the cam sensor. There's just all the mounts that I've cleaned up. New water pump, the new thermostat as well, and pretty much everything else cleaned up, ready to go back onto the engine. Now, important thing to note, I'm not running the original oil cooler and oil filter housing. This is not a brand new one, it was a used one, but it was one that came out of a good engine, not one that was filled with metal shavings. But as you can see, I've given it a good clean up inside and out. It's spotless inside and out, done multiple flushes of it. So I'm happy for this to go back onto the engine. Here is the one that came off of the engine. Yeah, I'm not going to be using that. That's just going to be going into the bin because, yeah, it's all completely full of metal shavings, and if that was to go back on, chances are you're just going to spin a bearing, which wouldn't be fun. But yeah, I have an awful lot to get busy with, so let's build up this engine, let's get it ready to go back in the car. Okay, so as you can see, I have in fact been busy. Engine all now built back up, ready to go on. Of course, new flywheel, new clutch kit, refurbished turbo as well, all the exhaust manifold back on, EGR cooler back in place, have a new water pump, new thermostat, obviously oil cooler, oil filter housing all back in place, and most of the electrical connectors back in place. Obviously I haven't got the fuel rail or the injectors in place yet. I'll do that once the engine is back in the car. But yeah, we're ready to go in, I think. The engine's looking so good now. Engine bay is pretty much prepped, so all clean, everything tucked out of the way. New clutch fork, clutch release bearing, pivot pin and spring clip installed. Give the gearbox a little bit of a clean out as well. Now, the next video you will see is this engine in place and me doing quite a few checks just to make sure that everything is okay. You know, I'm going to give the entire car a good full service as well, gearbox, diff, all the filters, all the fluids, and then you can finally see if this replacement engine will run. Now, like I said, do stay tuned for that next video where you'll see if I can get this cheap BMW both running and driving once more. Now, again, I want to say a massive thanks to BMW Pro for supplying the engine. Guys, remember, if you have a BMW N47 or N57 that needs rebuilding, these are the guys to go to. They, you know, really is their bread and butter. They rebuild like 5 to 10 of these engines every single week. I'll leave all of their details down in the description box below. Feel free to check them out. I would highly recommend these guys. They really do know what they're talking about when it comes to these engines. Now, I'm going to include some clips on the screen now from when they rebuilt my engine, just going through a few of the processes that kind of happens when, you know, you are rebuilding one of these engines. So of course they'll get a used engine in, they have to strip it down, they have to clean it thoroughly, they have to check which parts are salvageable. Then any new parts will have to be added. Then of course, all of your consumables, you know, a timing chain kit, gaskets, seals, O-rings, stretch bolts, things like that, they obviously all have to be brand new. Now, the great thing about these guys as well is that they deliver the engine to you. It's all through eBay, so it's very simple and easy to do. The fresh engine will turn up to your door and you just send your old engine back to them. And the good thing about these engines as well, there is a warranty. So during the warranty period, if there is any issues at all, then of course they will sort you out. So if you do need anything from these guys, especially N47 and N57 related, do get in contact with them. Again, all of their details are of course down below. Now then, I've got some work to do to get this thing back up and running, so I want to thank you all for watching. Give this video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already done so. I will see you all in that next one.